So I mentioned this before in the last post, but the Acolyte episode 3 has a terrible semi-musical segment that was inspired by Leslye Headland that was taken from the Frozen movies by Disney to kind of create a musical piece in the Acolyte episode 3. It is so bad. I would say it's just right up there with a terrible commercial that is specifically, engineered to be made as an earworm, to keep it in your mind, to have it keep replaying in your head multiple times. We all recall what the witches and the acolytes say. The power of one, the power of two, the power of many, in a very musical, sing-songy way that repeats 3 times. Now, interestingly enough, we know that Leslye Headland and Kathleen Kennedy are defending the Acolyte to no end. They want to do desperate damage control over this series, and it's about to get even worse, with episode 4 embracing pronouns next week. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new, and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So we already know that Bob Iger, the Disney CEO, is the one that really held, of course, himself responsible, or should I say is the one responsible for this garbage, this trash fire, that will not admit that he is the one responsible, per se. That's what I would really like to say here. And we have to blame Dave Filoni as well. A lot of people don't seem to be recognizing exactly what's really going on here. Leslye Headland herself even openly admitted that Dave Filoni fully supported everything that she did with episodes 1, 2, 3, and everything else after that, and how he is the one that supports everything related to what's so wrong with the Acolyte. Now, focusing on everything else moving forward has a lot to do with Disney's current situation, the Acolyte financial disaster, and how it's only getting worse. Let's get into it, shall we? Now, specifically with the Acolyte episode 3 already wreaking havoc at both Lucasfilm and Disney due to the rapid growing backlash, even larger than The Last Jedi back in 2017, one major development now has to do with the Acolyte financial situation behind the scenes and how recently, after multiple emergency meetings by Disney, things have hit rock bottom for the Acolyte and Disney CEO Bob Iger. Now, one crucial update to this situation is that, as it turns out, the Disney heads and executives already are beginning to cancel tons of Acolyte merchandise in the wake of the Acolyte Episode 3 backlash hitting a world record for Lucasfilm, even outperforming The Last Jedi backlash. And like I said, guys, even on the critic Rotten Tomato score, it is dropping rapidly. It went from 91% to 84%. And I said this, it's going to hit the 70s easily within a couple of days. Now, recently Bob Iger and the Disney heads came to a quick agreement that resulted in a loss of millions of dollars. This involves the cancellation of Acolyte merchandise connected to the Acolyte Episode 3 and 4, along with massive cutbacks on the Acolyte marketing campaign that also resulted in Disney losing millions of dollars, with less exposure through TV spots now going into full effect. Whatever merchandise that they do end up selling are reportedly going to be marked down drastically by roughly 62% for the Acolyte. In addition to this, Bob Iger also greenlit something crucial that led to the Acolyte financial disaster behind the scenes, in which set pieces for the Acolyte Season 2 are already getting torn down since Season 2 is already off the table and not moving forward, as Leslye Headland and Kathleen Kennedy are desperately actually going against Disney to find a way to reinstate Season 2. Disney reportedly can't even salvage the extra set pieces for the Acolyte Season 2 to use on another production related to either Star Wars or Marvel that reportedly cost Disney well near $20 million right off the bat before the Acolyte Season 2 even started filming. To make matters worse, Disney analysts recently reported to the executives that the Acolyte created a massive dip in Star Wars merchandise sales and engagement on Disney Plus for other shows. For the merchandise, both in retail stores, online, and in the Disney parks for Galaxy's Edge, merchandise is dropping. This is already throwing the board of directors and some shareholders into a phase of panic as well for the Walt Disney Company. However, they remain stubborn, as they are still doubling down on their DEI agenda with future Star Wars projects with different creators and a cheap move to trick the audience that a creator other than Leslye Headland will do a better job. For example, Charmin Obaid-Chinoy, leading the Rey Star Wars movie. Apart from this, it even gets worse for the Walt Disney Company, where many wardrobe pieces for the Acolyte Episode 3 that were used were supposed to return in Season 2 for more flashback scenes. All the wardrobe and prop pieces cost Disney millions of dollars as well, after they cancelled, of course, items from appearing in another Disney Lucasfilm production. Bob Iger and the board are set to have another emergency meeting for the Acolyte series and the direction of Lucasfilm by next week to further advance the concerns coming from some of the board of directors. Now, before I move on, guys, let me just say one thing about Bob Iger. This man is a full-on pathological liar. He is the one that keeps on saying, there's no agenda here at Disney. There's no agenda about, of course, what we do here at the Lucasfilm or what we do with Star Wars and Marvel. It's all about quieting down the noise. We don't engage in any kind of a culture war, yada yada yada, right? And then you have the Acolyte. Then you have everything else going on with their plans for the future of the MCU with the Young Avengers. I mean, the list goes on. And he will say whatever he has to say, like I said earlier, to string along the audience, the shareholders alike, to the following year. As long as he is able to stick around until 2026, which, by the way, is the very year he plans to walk away from Disney and step down, he wants to build his own legacy. Through lies and through really just kind of saying to the shareholders that what we're doing at Disney has nothing to do with an agenda. Anyway, moving onwards, alright? In conclusion, some of which are even calling for Kathleen Kennedy's firing. We're talking about some of the board of directors, but they fall into the minority of the board. Roughly only 2 board members are calling for her firing after the Acolyte's viewership hit a terrible new low. Now, what's interesting about this, like I said twice already, the Rotten Tomatoes score on the critic scale is dropping. So what is, the media going to do now? What are they going to say? Are they review bombing now too? Are they the ones that are also leaving fake reviews, quote unquote? I don't think so. I think that you're going to see this massive shift where they're going to have no choice but to admit the truth that the Acolyte is garbage tier quality by Lucasfilm, because that's what it is at the end of the day. It is pure garbage, and it belongs in the trash. So, look, this is worse than The Last Jedi. Episode 3 totally dethroned what Rian Johnson did on a whole new level of bad. Like I said earlier, they may have hit rock bottom with other Star Wars installments, but the Acolyte freaking hits bedrock level. So, interestingly enough, we know that Kathleen Kennedy and Leslye Headland, they're going to continue to defend this thing at all costs. We know that Episode 4 is going to really address pronouns in there, and it's not going to stop with Episode 5, 6, 7, and 8 when it comes to their overall agenda. Look, you got half the whole show completely destroyed for the first 4 episodes. There are 8, by the way. I don't know if you guys knew this. A lot of you guys keep saying there's 6, but there are 8 episodes. It's going to last, I believe, until July 16th/17th, so we got a ways to go. But overall, I would like to hear what you all have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.